So my husband and I celebrated 6 years wedding anniversary. You guys clap because it's not easy. It's not easy to be married for 6 years. 6 years. I mean, I'm married to such an amazing man. I'll keep saying this. I'll say it often because in the world today, it's quite difficult to see good men, So I count myself blessed and lucky. I know there are a lot of good men out there, but I know I'm one of the people that got married to one of them. So yeah, a few days ago, we celebrated our 6 years wedding anniversary. Honestly, it doesn't really feel like 6 years. I think it feels like 3 years or thereabout. It doesn't seem like 6 years. And I'm so grateful to the Heavenly Father for keeping us, for preserving us. So yeah, this video we're going to be sharing 6 lessons that we've learned, 6 things that has helped us to improve ourselves as a married couple, being married for 6 years. One thing I know for sure is that marriage is beautiful, marriage is wonderful. No marriage is perfect, right? No marriage is perfect like people would say. But one thing I know and one thing I believe is that a marriage can be perfect for you and your partner depending on how both of you choose to make it. I'm a strong believer that marriage is to be enjoyed and not to be endured. Hi guys, you're welcome and you're welcome back to my channel. Welcome from the Easter holidays. If you're new here, very, very welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, I see you and I appreciate you a lot. Let's dive right into 6 things that has kept us, that has built us, that has shaped us into who we are today. We're not perfect, far from it, but basically what has kept us, what we've learned. I'm going to be mentioning the 6 things that has kept us. And the last one, you want to stay till the very end because the last tip is actually the most important aspect of it all. The very first on my list is intentionality. So I remember getting admission into the university and my husband was kind of scared because he felt that I might see a better person than him and then leave him for someone else. But I had to assure him that that was not going to be the case if we are intentional about each other. Because we actually dated 3 years long distance relationship. We were far, he was in another state, I was in another state. Okay, so but one thing that kept us together, I would say, is we were very intentional about each other. We had these CG lines that we used to call each other. I would speak every single day. And by speaking, I'm not talking about, oh, how are you? All this basic. We'll talk for like 2 hours, 3 hours, we do video calls. We are just, we're very, very intentional about each other. And I really loved that because that was the foundation of everything. So even as we're married now, intentionality is a must. Intentionality is normal with us. I'm the kind of person that is very intentional about everything I do. Everything I do, like I like to be very, very intentional. I like to plan things that I do. I'm very intentional about everything I do. So growing up, I used to pray to Heavenly Father to give me that one person that's intentional as I am. Because one thing I know for sure is that one person cannot put in the work in marriage. It takes 2 to tango. 2 people have to put their heads together, to make something work. So if I'm intentional and he's not intentional, it's not going to work. Now, it's not like they are not going to be mistakes. There are going to be mistakes. There are going to be arguments. There's going to be like the negative part of it. But I know that if you and your partner, emphasis on you and your partner, because it takes 2 to tango. One person cannot just do the work. Both of you have to put in the work. Marriage is work. Everything about marriage is work. So if you're with someone that's not willing to put in the work, or if you're with someone that doesn't feel like you are worth enough to put in the work, then it's not going to work out. Intentionality is key in marriage. So that even as we're married now, we're very intentional about the things that we do. Because one thing I know for a fact is that if you plant a seed and the seed is not being nurtured, it's not being watered, that seed is going to die. No matter how good that seed is, if you plant that seed and just leave it there, it's going to die. So love and everything it requires, you need to feed it for it to grow. You don't just leave it there. Okay, so we do a lot of things together that helps us to be intentional. For instance, we have like our Friday movie nights where we put the kids to bed early. Actually, my kids go to bed early. So as partners, without the kids, do some small snacks, whether it's suya, fish, popcorn, and some juice, anything available, and just enjoy our time, enjoy the bonding together. Sometimes with marriage, kids are a huge distraction, especially if you let them. So it's very important to prioritize yourself because these kids are going to leave you one day. I feel like as parents, we're just caretakers, right? These kids are just under our care. We don't own them. At some point, they're going to leave you. You're going to get married. They're going to have their own family that they will focus on. That's why you see that there are some marriages that at some point in their life, you see that the parents are always looking for where to go. It's either the mother is going for a mugo or the father is traveling, because they didn't build that initial bond. So the second would be learning and unlearning, which has to do with, or learning those things that we know that are not going to be important to us currently, or learning new things about your partner, because like it or not, the way that you are now is different from the way you were 3 years ago. 3 years ago, my favorite color is not the same as my favorite color now. Learn new things about your partner. Learn your partner's likes. Learn his dislikes. Learn those things that you do that will make your partner to be angry, or those things that you do that you know that your partner likes, and avoid doing them. And unlearn some certain things. Marriage, you learn every day. You unlearn some things, like the mentality of having privacy in marriage, even with your phone. Because why should you be private about your phone? Why should you say my phone is my privacy? It doesn't make sense, okay? Your partner should have the password to your phone, not because the person is always checking your phone to look around, but because you want your partner to trust you, you want to build that trust, and you know that there's nothing like privacy. Also, unlearning some mentality that you used to have, which you know that currently is not going to serve. Someone used to say that his wife will make fresh meals morning, afternoon, and night. What was his reason? His reason was like, oh, because during the time of our mothers, this is what they used to do. There was nothing like freezer. So during the time of our mothers, this is what they used to do. So why can't she do it? I mean, that is that person's mentality. But let's assume that your partner is not okay with it. As the world changes, we need to evolve. There are things that make our work faster and easier now. Why not go for the easier way? I mean, if your partner is okay with things like that, fine. But let's assume that your partner is not okay with it because of some reasons. If you really love this person, if you really want this person to be happy, then there are certain perceptions and misconceptions that you need to unlearn. Another huge and important part in marriage is love and understanding, which I believe work hand in hand, because if you claim to love someone, you want to understand them. You want to understand their moods. You want to understand what this person likes, what this person does not like. You want to understand that sometimes we don't have to share the same views about everything. Sometimes six can also be nine, depending on how it is placed. You want to understand that your partner wants to be loved the way he or she wants to be loved, not the way you choose to love them. They are two different things. And that is where understanding our love language comes into play, knowing that everybody has a certain type of way they want to be loved. So that when this thing is done towards them, it shows that you love them. So understanding your partner's love language, understanding your love language, so that it will help both of you to communicate together, to feel loved and appreciated. I think we have the acts of service, the physical touch, the gift, receiving and giving gifts, the words of affirmation, and I can't remember the last one. But yeah, I think there are like five. So understand your partner's love language and love that person, how the person feels he or she wants to be loved, not necessarily how you feel like this person wants to be loved. If your partner is heavy on respect, your partner is heavy on words of affirmation, acts of service. Do those things. Do those things. Even if you don't see it as anything, do them because they mean something to that person. Celebrate your partner's wins, no matter how small it might seem. Celebrate it with them. Support their businesses. Post it on your WhatsApp. Tell your friends about it. Prioritize your marriage. You can't claim to love someone so much and you don't prioritize them, you don't prioritize their needs. It shows that you are thinking about each other and you appreciate each other. And be willing to compromise in each other's interests. He doesn't like watching a movie. Some days just watch a movie because she wants to. Even if it's not the type of movie, just do it. Just to make her happy. You don't like watching football. Sometimes just sit and watch football. It's actually fun. And then when things don't go as planned, resist the urge to always want to blame. Always want to put blame. Oh, I told you, it is you that caused this, it is you that did this. Even if you feel like, okay, you said this and this person did not listen. At that point, that person is already feeling like, I messed up. That's not the right time to start casting blames. You can communicate your message, you can communicate to the person in a better way without making the person feel down. Then another important part is intimacy. Now, intimacy doesn't only have to be with bedroom activities, right? Of course, bedroom activities are very important on its own, but intimacy goes a lot deeper than just bedroom activities. Those nights where you just lay on your bed, your partner, you're having long conversations, you're discussing values, you're discussing interests, you're discussing future, you're even reminiscing and all that. Having deep conversations is also a form of intimacy. It can help to build bond. Sometimes just drop the phone and talk with your partner. I'm telling you that you have a lot to talk about. Even if you were going to talk about what is on the phone. The other day, me and my partner, we were talking about JP 2025, which is the trending wedding right now. We're just watching it together and talking about it, how beautiful it is, this one, how the groom cried, whether the bride forced him to cry. Just talk. So we're just talking, just have discussions. Speak with your partner. Phones are actually a very huge distraction. Focus on your partner. There's a lot that you have to talk about. Don't think that, oh, there's nothing for us to talk about. Trust me, once you start talking, ideas, things will come into your mind. But these things build the bonding and the intimacy. And the last but not the least is grace, grace, grace. God's grace, God's mercy, God's favor has kept us. I'm very grateful to Heavenly Father for giving us this look. I've known my husband for a total of 10 years. We got to know each other, and then after 1 year, we dated 3 years, and now we're married for 6 years. All I can say is God has been amazing. God has blessed us and He'll continue to bless us and enrich us. So I want to conclude by saying, brothers and sisters, marriage is beautiful, marriage is sweet. I know that in the kind of society we are in currently, it's very difficult for someone to believe that marriage is enjoyable because the stories, a lot of things are happening these days. And I perfectly understand when somebody says he or she doesn't want to get married. To be honest, I understand it. Looking at the society now, I remember telling my mom sometime that if I was not married up to now, and I'm currently in this society now, I don't think I will be married. Maybe I would be, but I wouldn't have interest in marriage. One thing I know for sure is that for a marriage to be successful, two people have to be involved. The two of you have to be involved. When I hear things like people telling people married couple, especially the women, that oh, in marriage you have to pretend. If your husband brings back a lady, just pretend as if you're not seeing her. Just turn your face the other way. And if he does anything, just pretend. Just pretend that everything is fine. And then thinking about it, it's not fair. It's not fair because why does one person have to pretend? For how long are you going to pretend? You're going to pretend to be happy. You say, focus on your children. Excuse me, focus on your children. Really, I feel like it's not fair. Okay, so it's not fair that one person is putting in the work, one person is constantly, praying for the marriage, one person is working, and the other person is the other side that's not even interested at all, I feel like it's very, very unfair for anybody to say that. So marriage can only be successful, marriage can only be beautiful and sweet if both of you are putting in the work and if you put God into your marriage. That is one thing I know. If both of you work towards it intentionally, despite all odds, intentionally, both of you working hand in hand, putting in the work, you're going to enjoy the beauty that comes from marriage. So my prayer to you is that you find somebody that has the same interests that you do. You find somebody that wants to put in the work, because marriage is work. If you don't find somebody like you, I'm sorry, it's going to be stressful. And for those that feel like, oh, I can get married and do whatever I want, I also pray that you find somebody like you so that the both of you can match. So that when the person is doing what he wants, the other person is also doing what she wants, and everybody is happy. Not that one person is putting work, is suffering, trying to build, trying to mold, and the other person is just doing another thing totally different. That's very, very unfair. Thank you so much for watching. If you watched up to this extent, I'm grateful for the fact. If you watch up to this extent, I have a gift because it's not easy to watch up to this extent. So if you watched, I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for rooting for me. And to my new subscribers, thank you so, so much for joining the family. We are not so much here, but don't worry, with time you get there. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.